All right, we're out in the shop today. We're going to, got a few things to do to the old freefox body. I got these I want to replace. I got some new windshield wipers, and I think I want to repack the front wheel bearings. I've been driving this thing to work a little bit, and it's kind of making a grinding noise. It makes me think it maybe after sitting for 30 years, the grease in the wheel bearings has probably got hard and not doing its job. So it's not a big job. I'm gonna take it off, take the wheels off, take the bearings out, clean them out, repack them with some fresh grease, put it back on, and then we'll drive it and see how that sounds. It's kind of torn because I really wanted to get some new rotors and stuff. They're pretty pitted from just sitting for so long, but I don't want to wait a week or so for them to get here because I like to be driving the car. So we're going to try repacking the wheel bearings and see what that gets us. We got several other things to do, so follow along. I'll probably just put it on a time lapse and get after it. So stick around. All right, as you can see, I think the bearings have run loose. Like it wasn't tightened all the way up. It's marked. It's not normal. It's like the bearing was chattering on there or something. So I think I'm just gonna buy new bearings, pound the races out of these, put new bearings and seals in them. I didn't really want to do all that. As you can see, the rotors are rough as a cob. I don't want to really wait. So bearings are fairly cheap, so we may just put some new bearings in there. The race of the front, I don't know if the camera will pick this up. A little lip down in there, so I'll have to run up to O'Reilly's and get some new bearings. Get back with this a little later. Okay, we're back. I debated about it and I decided not to put new bearings in this. I'm gonna try. Put fresh grease in, and the spindle nut seemed like it was kind of loose. So I'm gonna try and show y'all how I learned to pack bearings back in auto mechanic school back in '85, way back when. Get you a big old goop of grease, put it in the palm of your hand. Sorry. Take your bearing and you just start slapping it. You rotate your bearing a little bit. You'll see it start coming up through the rollers. This is the messy way to do it. They make a bearing packer. You can kind of see there how it's starting to pop up through the rollers. This is how my old auto mechanics teacher taught us how to do it. satisfied you got it packed. And you're done. Just set it aside. Spin the bearing a little bit. I wash these bearings out in my solvent tank over there, so I got all the old grease out of them and dried them real well. You don't want to leave that solvent in there, it'll attack the bearings, or attack the grease rather. So try to get as much of that grease off there as possible. Set this down here. Set it on there for a minute. The paper's kind of dirty. Take your next bearing and do the same thing. Grease back here where your seal runs. Don't want that seal running dry. Smell a little grease. And we'll put grease inside the wheel hub too. Let me see if I can get these gloves off without creating a mess. Let me get these bearings in the hub and put the seal in and everything. I'll get back with you. Alright, we're back. Got the seal in, bearing in. Get ready to put it back on the spindle. Let me get a towel. This is probably overkill. I want to get all that old grease off that washer. I put a lot of grease inside that hub brake rotor. I packed it full of grease, so there's grease there. I had grease all over the spindle. I don't really think you can over-grease these things. I've always heard if you over-grease a bearing, it'll run hot, but I'm not sure that's the case with wheel bearings. Well, they taught us in mechanic school a long time ago how to seat the bearings. That's obviously way too tight. I can back that off. Then we have to line this up. With a cotter pin hole. Grease on it, can't really hold it. Too slippery. There we go. I like that. It's good and smooth. There's no play in it. Pin a little bit buggered up. There it goes. Bend it around. Short side. The last thing is the dust cap. Mr. Cyril's told us to put grease in that too, so that's what we're going to do. Put a wad of grease in that and slap it on. Probably a little overkill, but I'd rather have too much grease than not enough. Be careful putting these caps back on. See here, somebody has hit that and dented it in. So you want to take a screwdriver or something and seat it. So just trying to drive it all in. By the end, you'll collapse it. Alright, I think that's pretty much that. Well, I gotta put the brake back on, huh? I'm gonna clean that rotor one more time with brake, carburetor cleaner or brake cleaner, either one, they're about the same thing. You don't want any grease on that rotor. It'll jack your brakes up. If you kind of get you down here, you see what I was talking about on these rotors, how rusty and pitted they are. I'd really would like to get new rotors. I was looking at slotted drill rotors, but at the same time, I'm thinking about a 5-lug conversion. So I hate to put a bunch of money in rotors and then convert it later. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I'm gonna put the brakes back on, clean this up, and thanks for watching.